Hello and welcome to Team Garnet's adventure level. My name is Brian Fan, and I am the lead level designer for this level. I took inspiration from various abandoned jungle temples around the world, such as the Bang Mela in Cambodia. And going up the mountain, the player learns he can climb on various wooden platforms that have been placed there by others. Upon reaching the top, there and entering the temple, the player notices a key on a bench that he can pick up. After grabbing the key, they will fall down a small pit with debris and open the door. Going forward, the player will scale the walls and climb over them. And once he reaches the top, they can go to the bottom, and they'll see another bench with a key on it, and some various debris around from the ancients. And after jumping over this debris over here, they reach the treasure room, and after picking up some of the loot that's been laid around, the player can go to the exit door and exit the temple. Upon exiting the temple, the player will see a forest that leads to an abandoned town. And as you go into town, you can see there's an open house that has some extra loot in it that you can pick up. And after picking up the loot, I will lead you to the next designer, Dallas Longwell.
Hello, I'm Dallas Longwell, and I designed this part of the level. I drew a lot of my inspiration from games like Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time, where the character leaves from a comfortable forest home and travels out seeking adventure. This first section ensures that the player knows how the climbing mechanic works and can use it to also, while finding treasure, look for a little bit of height and see what else they can find in the area. So it's not just a traversal mechanic. You might find something that isn't entirely necessary. This small building, almost like a hideaway point inside the cave, sets a place of respite before delving deep into the dungeon. This tunnel cuts the player off from the previous zone and reveals the Temple of the Earthen Lion. This lion, which meshed out allows it to breathe, is guarding the last bit of treasure before moving on out of this temple. I took more inspiration from the lion theme to bring a Roman style column in that leads you back through this temple and through this harder to see door into the next area of the level, designed by Mauricio Hernandez.
Hello, my name is Mauricio Hernandez, and I'm the lead designer of this level. This level was inspired by the early films of the Indiana Jones series. In this level, I use lighting as a way to guide the player to the direction he needs to go. You will see this very often throughout this playthrough. First, we see this light coming from this room where a chest is. As you can see, this chest is locked and requires a key. Once you turn around, you can see another room that's brightly lit and also has a chest. With a little searching, you can see another room that has light shining through it that leads the player back into this one. Once the chest is opened, the player now has the key and can go back to the first chest and open it, where they can claim their reward. This chest has some treasure that wasn't looted before you got there. Next up is the entrance to the temple you're in, which has a big pit and a destroyed bridge. Falling into this pit will cause the player to respawn at the beginning of the area. The player needs to scale the walls in order to reach the next area. Scaling these walls will allow the player to reach the next area easily with a little maneuvering. Once he drops down onto this bridge, there's the transition area that leads you into the next area. This next area is a cave that also has lighting that leads you in the direction you need to go. If you were to look up, you can see a house that's man-made and isn't part of the cave. And the maneuvering can be a little tricky, but you can get it down with a little bit of practice. As you can see, more light to guide the player. And as the level before this one, you need to scale the walls in order to reach your objective. Some simple jumping will get you across no problem. And now you're here. Now once you get here, you realize that the door is locked, but there is a light shining through, leading the player to the right. Once you look right, you can see a chest that's brightly lit. Investigating this chest reveals a key. Now this is the key you need to get into the door. Now, an eagle-eyed player would have noticed that there is actually a section here that you can jump to in order to reach the door quickly. With the door now open, this leads you into an abandoned town. This town is an old town, riddled with past life. As you can see, it hasn't aged very well. Things have started. Searching the houses, you can find hidden treasures, such as, for example, this house, which reveals a hidden chalice that no one has looted yet. Past this, there are stairs that lead you to the surface, as you can see by the light shining through. Now you're in the tunnel. This tunnel hides many secrets, one of which being a treasure box. But not all treasure boxes contain treasure, as you can see by this moldy rock. Continuing forward, you pass a stream of water, and you can see more light shining through. And here's the back entrance to an above ground temple which has been destroyed. Partly. The player needs to maneuver around the rubble to make it to the other side. Once he finds his way, he will find himself on the other side of this rubble and leading to the front entrance of the temple. Once here, you can see that the place has been overgrown and reclaimed by nature. And now this is the end of my level, and I'll pass it on to Douglas Bonner.
Thank you, Mauricio. My name is Douglas Bonner. I'm the lead designer for this level. I wanted to make the player feel like they were actually in a forest leading from Hernandez's level. So I made the forest here kind of thick and jungly. As you find your way around the forest via the path, you're presented with a couple jumps up on the ledge. And then the player is opened up to the rest of my level, which is all outdoors. The player is also presented with a pitfall. If they try to jump over, they obviously will not be able to make it. They will fall in, die, and be reset. So they will have to run across again through the jungle and up the ledges. But the player also sees a tree that has been falling, or that has fallen across the gap, that they can easily go across if their balance is good enough. Otherwise they will fall in and reset again. This is a rest area with a lodge, a little cabin, some seating, some shade, and a campfire. As they drop down into the deserted town that leads, transitions from the forest to a desert, they notice there are some cliffs, like this sun glyph right here, noting that there are some treasure nearby. If they look around, they will see an open cabin that they can get a chest that has a key in it. This key is also needed if the player skips it for the rest of this level. As they go through the town, they'll see more glyphs. They see a temple glyph here, a temple and a sun glyph over there. The key they picked up is required to open this chest. So they pick that key up. With the two glyphs up here, you have the sun glyph and the temple glyph, which you require the temple key to get. In order to get the temple key, you had to get the first key. Doors open now. You can climb up another ledge or two, and you can see the town behind you. They're presented with another gap of water, meaning a stream or a river with a waterfall and a bridge to cross. If, like before, the player wants to try to jump across, they are reset because they cannot make it across. So they come back, jump up their ledges, and run across the bridge. Then they're presented with another rest area, bonfire, cabin, shade, some seating. And as they come into the canyon, desert canyon, they're presented with two more glyphs, a sun glyph and a temple glyph, and they can see the temple behind. If they've been paying attention, they're going to have to go to this direction of the sun in order to get an item to move on. There's some parkour that you can do to break up just the straight running. That way the player's got something to do besides just running. You pick up the key, and you can backtrack a little bit, not a whole lot, by jumping over these items again, these rocks. And as they go the way of the temple, they see that they're presented with a door that they have the key to now. As they go through the door, they've got a little bit more parkour to deal with. And they come out, they're beside the temple here. Oh yay, I'm just about done with the level, so let's rush through it. And there's the temple. Uh-oh, I'm stuck. I need a key. Well, now I gotta backtrack. And as you backtrack, you're faced with a chest that you skipped, because as you come around the corner, you did not see that. So you go in here, you open the chest. Oh, there's another key. So you grab that key, and you come back out. And if the player wants, they can take time to admire the temple. I'm actually quite proud of that temple. It took me a while to construct, but I think it turned out very well. There's some pottery sitting around and everything. So you open the door, and this leads you into the next level. And I would like to introduce the next level designer, Michael Fetterman.
Yes, hello. My name is Michael Fetterman. I am the lead designer of this level, which is an underground cave level based off of Tomb Raider. My level, I used a lot of different aspects. My favorite aspect was the building of the volcanic pillars and everything like that, which you're about to see. My level is a little bit more out there when it comes to creativity, because you got these giant spikes which look like they're about to fall over. You got a lot of different aspects which are magnetic or volcanic, which gives the player a little bit more light, which would lead them to use less natural light sources, but also making it harder to get around. Here's the first part where they cannot just jump back up once they fall down. The balls are supposed to be rolling, so then it gives the player a little bit more of a challenge to get through. The second part, which you're about to see, is going to stop them from backtracking completely, because there is no way back up there. All these logs are from a broken magnetic or lava-based forest, and this is the forest of eyes, which will be making it look like up here like the player's getting followed by eyes from every angle and everywhere, with the red making it a little bit harder to see, but making it harder to get around, but also giving the player a little bit more of an aspect to figure out where to go without actually using much resources to figure out where he's at. The campsite, which has a lava pool in the middle, which would help the player to know where their save point is. And then here's the hardest part of my level, which is the parkour based level. As soon as you land the lava, you teleport back, and as soon as you see the person playing had a lot more issues getting through the parkour because of how close together the jumps are and how distant certain ones are, giving the player more of an aspect to get around, but also making it a lot more challenging and making it a lot harder for them just to get through the level. As you're about to see, a little bit of a too far of a jump can make it harder to get around, while also making it fun and challenging to make it to the end. The lava would keep on making it so then they can keep on going back to the beginning, but not too far back, so then they can just keep on going and have a little bit more challenging of a time, but also figuring out a different routine of how to get across the lava without keep on falling in. So the higher the jump, the more you're going to fall in, but if you keep a smooth distance, you're going to keep it going nice and smooth. My level, I wanted to make sure like every aspect had a reason, so I made sure that the pillars were a good distance apart to make sure the player had a good feet to try to come together, while also making it a little bit harder. The hardest part about this is the faster the player goes, the harder it's going to be. The slower, the better. But at the same time, once they get to the end, that's it. There's a wall blocking them so they can't get through. There is a lot more challenging aspects in my level than all the others. But everyone worked on getting their levels done right, while my level also had a little bit more of a challenging point of how to get across. This is the end of my level, and welcome to the lodge, and let's stay a while and have some fun, have a drink, and sit down and relax. And that's all.